Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Very welcome to Alton Park for today's iRacing GT3 Progression Series race here with the RTA boys. My name is Simon SNB. If you don't know me, I have my own channel. You can find it in a link in the description if Rob remembers to put it in, that is. We're away now, following behind the Porsche iRacing safety car. And when we get to the line, we will be going green. It is Aaron Ingram on pole from Ender Farrell, I think, and then Keith McLaughlin, and well, I mean, it's difficult to tell because the timing has changed on me. Still getting used to the iRacing timings, so forgive me if I get a little bit confused during the race. And you might have to forgive me if I'm a little bit subdued as well, because I do have a little bit of a cough. I have here my water bottle with me for this 40-minute race around Alton Park. Not sure how many laps it'll be, but I think it's 40 minutes plus one lap as we come up to the final corner, turn 17 of Deer Loop. The safety car peels into the pits, and we go green now, and it looks to be a pretty even start from the leaders. Evan Naylor, looking up the inside of Ender Farrell, but nothing's going to come of that. TJ Baker crossing off, I think that's Robert Fleming in the BMW as they come through turn 1 and now down into turn 2 of Denton's. It's all nice and quiet so far. No major incidents. There's a little bit of battling going on at the back between Simon Wall and someone else. That's Keith McLaughlin, I do believe. And now as we ride on board with Damien McMullen, looking at Evan Naylor behind. He's going to be looking to make... Oh, goodness me. Robert Fleming's off into the barriers through Island Bend of turn 4. And that's a one-way ticket straight into last place for the man in the BMW. And that's really not how he would have wanted to start this race. 2 minutes and 40 seconds in as we ride on board with Naylor as he's looking back at Rob Parks. And Rob Parks has got his hands full with TJ Baker in the BMW Williams liveried BMW. There's quite a few Formula 1 liveries. We have the current Mercedes livery, and then we have TJ Baker running the early 2000s Williams livery. As we now look at Keith McLaughlin coming through turn 12 of Knickerbock. And he is right in this gaggle of cars of Andrew Murphy all the way back to Robert Fleming, who was caught up in that incident. I'm not sure if that was just him losing it all by himself. It takes a lot of doing to lose it onto the inside of Island Bend from my experience, my limited experience that is to say. As we now have Simon Wall losing 2 positions to both Andrew Murphy and Keith McLaughlin. And I'm not sure what's happened there to Simon Wall in the Mercedes Formula 1 liveried car, but he seemed to just pull to the inside and slow down, so I'm not sure. Was he involved in an incident? Well, he hasn't gone into the pits, so we're going to assume that he's... Oh, goodness me! Evan Naylor on the exit of turn 1 has just spun it all by himself. I'm sure that Andrew Murphy wasn't involved in that, because I'm pretty sure Evan was fairly far up the road, just running his own race behind TJ Baker. But Evan is going to be right at the back now. Robert Fleming promoted from last place, capitalising on that mistake from Naylor. And he's going to be quite happy with that. He's chasing down the Lamborghini of Nathan Healy, who is going to be sat in the... Oh, goodness me, look at that. Side by side through Shell Oil's corner of turn 5. Nothing's going to come of that, though, for Robert Fleming. Although he seems to have got in front. No, he hasn't. Healy's in front now. And... well, Evan Naylor's done a fantastic job to close up as much as he has, as now we have Keith McLaughlin defending from Simon Wall into turn 10, and nothing's going to come of that. Simon Wall being nice and gentle through turn 10, not wanting to risk anything, but he's going to be under pressure now from Nathan Healy, who's looking at... Oh, and there's contact there between... Oh, and Fleming collects Simon Wall, who's off into the grass, as is Nathan Healy. You have to say it was an ambitious move there from Healy, trying to get something done up the inside of Knickerbock. It was a line that was never really there, but I mean, Nathan Healy went for the move and he paid the price, as did Simon Wall. So, well, that is very unfortunate. Only 5 minutes into this 40-minute race, and already we have had our fair share of incidents with Lamborghinis and BMWs especially. As now we ride on board with Rob Parks, who's being chased down by TJ Baker, just 0.3 of a second between them as they come down through Denton's and into the Cascades. As we now look at Andrew Murphy, who is shortly behind them. He's been chased down by Keith McLaughlin in the Ferrari car. And now, well, we cut back to Rob Parks before immediately taking another look at Keith McLaughlin. And They don't seem to be doing an awful lot. They're just following each other. Keith McLaughlin maybe sizing up where is he quicker than Andrew Murphy, as we now look at Rob Parks again. So there's some... Oh, and now we're back to Keith McLaughlin. In a second we'll cut back to Rob Parks. And then straight back to Keith and Andrew. And there we go. So Rob Parks is defending from TJ Baker. So let's see how is Keith getting on. Keith is doing almighty things as we come down into turn 10. He's chasing Andrew Murphy still. Evan Naylor seems to be gaining a bit of time on them now as they come through the chicane of Hist. Oh, goodness me, it's the same two. It is the same two of Simon Wall and Nathan Healy. A lap later, -2 corners, and goodness me, I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know, was it Healy going for another ambitious move up the inside, but he's tagged Simon Wall around into the grass, and well, if Simon Wall is anything like Simon SNB, he will be like a bull seen red as we now look at Keith McLaughlin once again, who's tailing Andrew Murphy by 0.4 of a second, and then he has 0.9 of a second to Evan Naylor behind. As I take a swig of my water. 7 minutes into this race, so oh goodness me, Keith McLaughlin getting all kinds of out of shape through Old Hall corner of turn 1, and now Evan Naylor is going to be looking for a move, and he's got the move done, coming down into the Cascades, and he is up into P8 now. And, well, I mean, it's a very good recovery job, given that he was almost, well, he was last for a period of time on lap 2. And he's recovered all the way back up to P9 from P12 in a matter of minutes. And, well, I mean, I don't know what the camera likes about Keith McLaughlin, because there's very little going on as Andrew Murphy is off the track in front, and Evan Naylor is going to pick up another free position as we cut to Rob Parks. For some reason or other, I'm not quite sure why, TJ Baker's going to be sizing up a move on him, only 6/10 behind Rob Parks. And, well, Rob, I mean, TJ is going to be taking up all of Rob's attention now, because he's got over 3 seconds to Damien McMullen in P4 in front. And this could be a feisty battle, because they are quite even on pace, these two, in previous series. Obviously, in 2 different cars. The BMW, quite a bit bigger than the Lamborghini, I needn't say. So that is going to be creating a bit more of a bow wave than the Lamborghini. But as far as I know, the Lamborghini a little bit slower in a straight line from what I've learned in the past in other simulators. Now riding on board Rob Parks as we come down into turn 1. Little bit of oversteer there on the entry for Rob Parks, and a little bit on the exit as well. But that's not going to give him too much grief. Maybe he just prefers to have the car a little bit loose through the entry and on the exit as well. Rob Parks managing this race nicely, although TJ is closing up ever so slightly. He's caught him by 2/10, possibly as a result of that oversteer, as they come through Island Bend now and into Shell Oil's corner. This banked right-hander on Camber corner. It's a lovely corner to drive in any car at all, and certainly in a Lamborghini Huracan GT3 it is going to be extremely nice as they come through the Britain's chicane. And Rob Parks looks to have everything under control, although TJ Baker has closed the gap to 2 seconds. Is he going to go for a move into Hislops? No, Rob Parks defends the inside line and just wards TJ Baker off away from a move. TJ obviously not quite as bold as Healy, and well, I mean, you have to say that that's probably a good thing given the success rate of Healy's moves into the Hislops chicane. Now on board with Parks as he comes through turn 15 of Druid's corner. Oh, goodness me. Robert Fleming has gone off yet again. I'm not sure where that is. Is that on the exit of turn 12? It is on the exit of Knickerbock. He's spun out into the inside there. I'm not sure what's happened. I think he did that all by himself there, which is unfortunate for him as we now look at Rob Parks again. He's stretched the gap to TJ Baker to 0.7 of a second, but that's down to 0.6 as soon as I say that. And TJ Baker looks to have a pretty decent run out of turn 1. He's not going to go for a move into turns 2 or 3. I don't think you can see him there in the rear view screen on Rob Parks. I was going to say dash. It's not a dash. Above the fan is what I mean to say. And now the gap is 0.3 of a second, and Rob Parks is going to be seriously sweating now with TJ behind. Although TJ has gone wrong through turn 4 of Island Bend, and that's going to give Rob Parks a little bit more breathing room as we have breached the quarter distance mark in this race. Rob Parks navigating the Britain's chicane, straight lining it as much as possible through the curve of the right-hander of turn 8. And now TJ Baker has got an extremely good run. Is he going to go for a move? No, he's not. He's going to just hold station for now, as we are 11 minutes in, and there's not much point in risking anything at this stage. He's running in a good points-paying position of P6, and he has plenty of potential to get past Rob Parks later on in this race. There is one mandatory pit stop in this series, so there is always a possibility as Rob Parks runs slightly wide through turn 15, and that is going to give TJ Baker a good opportunity coming into Lodge corner of turn 16, but he hasn't got anything to offer Rob Parks into the second to last corner. I say second to last corner, it's probably the last proper corner. This is technically the last corner of turn 17 of Deer Loop. Now as they come across the start-finish line into turn 1 of Old Hall corner. And oh, we've got a great battle emerging up ahead. That's Keith McLaughlin flashing his lights at Robert Fleming, who has just been lapped. And, sorry, it was Damien McMullen, I mean to say, who was flashing his lights. And then Keith McLaughlin following just behind him. Keith McLaughlin also been lapped, it would seem. So he's managed to make up a position on Robert Fleming through turn 3 of the Cascades. And now Rob Parks is seriously under pressure from TJ Baker. 0.5 of a second. He is probably about as close as he has been coming through this chicane. Rob Parks, though, just takes a lot more of that inside curve there through turn 8, as you saw. And that seems to give him just enough of an edge to defend his position coming down into turn 10 here. And, I mean, TJ Baker, he probably could go for a move into that corner if he was really brave on the brakes, but that BMW, I imagine, weighs a lot more than the Lamborghini being a lot bigger, so maybe he just doesn't want to risk it. He does get along well with Rob Parks. Well, I mean, everyone gets along well with everyone in RTA, because that's just what we're like. But maybe TJ Baker just holding station for now. I don't know, maybe he enjoys pressuring Rob and making him squeal. Who knows? Only TJ knows about the ways of TJ Baker. But now, as they come through to cross the start-finish line once again, as Keith McLaughlin is coming to the pits there. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's making his mandatory pit stop, or he needs to repair some damage. As TJ Baker extends the track on the exit of turn 1. And is that going to give him enough of a run through turn 3? It's not. He just follows Rob Parks through the first sector. This is a very tricky track to overtake on, purely because of its tight and twisty nature. There's very few corners where you can take an old tip. Oh goodness me, I can't speak, and we're only, well, about a third of the way through the race. There is very few corners, I mean to say, where you can take a second line in the dry that is just as fast, if not faster, than the standard racing line. So that is going to be proving tricky for TJ Baker, as he doesn't quite have the same run down into turn 10 on the Foster's Straight as he has on previous laps, as they come through Hislop's chicane now and into Knickerbock. And TJ Baker just falling back ever so slightly through the chicane, so maybe his front tyres are going off ever so slightly. Maybe he's been pushing Rob Parks a little bit too much, and he's just burning through his tyres a little bit too much, overheating them ever so slightly, and he's just backing off. You can see in the rearview mirror that he's almost nowhere to be seen, as we look at Ronan Doherty, who is approaching, who's that? I'm not quite sure, I've forgotten. And, well, I mean, no, it is Aaron Ingram, who is, oh, good, I'm terribly sorry, folks, I don't know what's going on. Ronan Doherty is past Aaron Ingram, as far as I can tell. I think that's Aaron in the orange and black McLaren. I've been trying to learn the drivers and the car liveries, but it's not working out very well for me, it would seem, as well, I mean, I don't think that was a pass for the lead, because the gap is saying, well, just shy of 3 seconds, and, well, I mean, I can see that it's certainly not a 3-second gap to the McLaren, so I'm not sure what the story is there, as Ronan Doherty is in a commanding lead of this race. It's Andrew Murphy. Apologies, Andrew, I didn't realise that you were driving that car, as we have Aaron Ingram in the brown liveried Ferrari. Oh my good God, what is that? That is one of the most... Can we cut away? Thank you very much. I can't deal with looking at the side camera of that car. That is just... It'd give you nightmares. If you're under the age of 12, please skip forward whenever that comes on the screen, because we don't want to get sued for sleep paralysis and seeing that in your dreams. Oh, and there's Aaron Ingram getting past Andrew Murphy, who ran wide at the final corner, being lapped. And it's a textbook lapping manoeuvre from Andrew, getting out the way perfectly. I mean, I'm sorry, I cannot take that livery seriously. It is just... Well, I mean, you have to commend Aaron on his choice of livery and his boldness in that choice. But, well, I mean, oh, goodness me, there's the... Oh, thank you to the race TV camera director for cutting away from that instantaneously. I don't want to see that ever again commentating this series, because it is just the most terrifying livery that has ever been put on a racing car. Now we're looking at TJ Baker, who is fallen back from Rob Parks by about 2 seconds, which is certainly not what he would have wanted, and he's lapped Keith McLaughlin, but he does have a decent gap to Evan Naylor behind with 7.5 seconds, so he's in a very good place in the race so far, with almost half the race, or just over half the race, left to go. He is in a nice place. He's got a little bit of clean air in front of him, and he's flashing the lights at Rob Parks for, well, a reason that I can't quite understand. Rob Parks is for position, TJ, so he's not going to be letting you through in any kind of merciful, what's the word I'm looking for, sympathy overtake. As we now look at Ender Farrell, who's in P3 with 5 seconds to the car in front and 17 seconds to the car behind, as Andrew Murphy has gone off in his McLaren. And I think that's on the exit of Knickerbock as well. It is. So that corner playing havoc with the cars who are tending to be at the back. Oh, never mind. It isn't Knickerbock. It's the second to last corner of Lodge Corner, and he comes into the pits now. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe he needs to change tyres. Maybe he needs to repair damage, as Robert Fleming is in the pits. So either he's retired or he is repairing the car almost from scratch, being so far back. I think he's 3 laps down, which is certainly not what you want in a 40-minute race. Now, Rob Parks has lost his gap to TJ Baker by about half a second, which is not going to be playing on his mind too much, I imagine. Still a 1.4 second gap, and TJ maintaining that gap to Evan behind, and extending it ever so slightly as we look at back on Rob Parks, who has a 4-second lead to TJ now. Oh, never mind, it's a 1.5 second lead. I was looking at the wrong delta. Or not delta, but gap. Endurance commentating is a first for me, folks, so you'll... Oh, goodness me, look at this. Robert Fleming is out of the pits. I think he's about 17 laps down, however, so he's not going to be scoring an awful lot of points from this race. And Andrew is also out of the pits. You love to see it in the Macca, as Rob Parks is well, doing his thing. Ronan Doherty has a 4-second lead in his BMW, so that's always going to be good for him in his Red Bull liveried Germanic machinery. And he looks to be in a commanding lead of this race. He hasn't made any mistakes so far that I could pick up on. And with Aaron Ingram 4 seconds behind him, and then Ender a further 6 seconds back, you have to say, if Ronan keeps doing what he's doing, he's almost certain to take the checkered flag for this one. Fully deserving of his Red Bull sponsorship with a performance like this, you have to say. So as I was saying, oh goodness me, Simon Wall is in the wall on the exit of the final corner, and well, in the Mercedes F1 liveried AMG machine, I'm not sure what's wrong with turn 16 and turn 12 are just causing all sorts of havoc for people who are tending to be at the rear. I'm not sure if they're struggling with traction control or something, but well, Simon Wall has gone into the pits, so I mean, he's probably going to have to fix up that AMG ever so slightly on the left-hand side. He's probably got a little bit of floor damage as well, so that's going to be irreparable for this race, as we are just past the halfway stage with 2.5 minutes gone. No, 20 minutes and 30 seconds gone. Well, it's about 45 seconds at this stage. TJ Baker is doing his own thing in the middle of nowhere in comparison to everyone else. And Ronan Doherty is also doing his own thing in the middle of nowhere, as is TJ Baker, who I just mentioned a few seconds ago, but completely forgot about. He's, well, I mean, you have to say Keith McLaughlin, he seems to be sticking with him quite well. So, oh, Andrew Murphy straight away after exiting the pits, almost instantaneously, as TJ Baker comes into the pits, and so does Rob Parks. So this is going to be a potentially race-altering pit stop now. Both of them into the pits. It's going to be a matter of who exits the box first, who's going to put more fuel in, who is going to change the tyres quicker. It is all going to come down to possibly milliseconds in the pits between those two, as Ronan Doherty is yet to make his mandatory pit stop, as far as I can tell. And, well, I mean, he's still commanding the race in P1 with a 4-second gap. He's maintaining that very well indeed. And Aaron Ingram seems to have extended his gap to Farrell by, what, 2 seconds-ish? So now, as we watch him come down into Lodge Corner, turn 16, navigating it absolutely beautifully in comparison to the 2 or 3. Oh, look at this now. Rob Parks and TJ Baker exiting the pits, line astern. I said it might come down to milliseconds, and it has. But unfortunately for TJ Baker, he was just a few milliseconds too late from Rob Parks, and they exit as they entered, with TJ Baker on the back of Rob Parks. And, well, I mean, Rob Parks had a decent gap to TJ, so he's probably put a little bit more fuel in to lose that gap than TJ, as we have Ronan Doherty, who seems to be approaching the two of them to lap them. So, I mean, we've been watching this battle for the entire race, and Ronan has passed TJ Baker to put him a lap down, and he will be getting past the blue flag runner of Parks in just a moment's time. When is Parks going to let him through? This is going to be quite interesting, because there are very few overtaking opportunities before turn 15, which is Druids Corner before the Warwick Bridge Straight. And, well, I mean, Ronan isn't quite close enough for Rob to say, come on, mate, you can come past me now. He's still going absolutely flat out, Rob Parks. Well, I mean, flat out. You don't really go flat out in an endurance race, but he's going about as flat out as you do. And now, as they come down towards the second to last corner, which is technically the last corner, but technically the second to last corner. And Ronan really on the back of Rob Parks. And is Rob Parks going to lift? I'm sure he's going to lift into turn 1. As we look on the outside camera of Doherty, where is Parks? No one knows. Still no. Oh, there he is. He's let him past through turn 1 as Parks, and just gone wide through Old Hall Corner, which is, again, a textbook lapping manoeuvre. So if you want to know how to be lapped, then you can always email Rob Parks, and I'm sure he'll give you some lessons for an extremely reasonable price. Rob Parks, I just saw there as he came through Island Bend, he looked to be wearing driving gloves, but no racing overalls. Or if they were racing overalls, they were remarkably similar to the colour of his skin. So, I mean, the FIA is probably going to have a word with him about that, since he seems to be racing in t-shirt and shorts, rather than actual Nomex fireproof racing gear. Ronan Doherty has, oh my goodness me, look at that. It's almost a 9-second gap to P2 for Ronan Doherty. And, well, I mean, that's just, it speaks volumes about how he's driven this race. He hasn't made any mistakes, and he's been navigating traffic absolutely splendidly, as Doherty in his Red Bull liveried BMW. Have to say the BMW in recent years seems to be absolutely ruining the front of their cars with hideous grills, and I think if we get a frontward shot on the BMW, you'll be able to see what I mean. It's an absolute giant gaping hole of a grille in the front of the BMW, although it does seem to be very quick, so I'm not sure Doherty's going to care at all about that. as there you can see the grill has been divided into quarters. And, oh, goodness me, look at this, Aaron Ingram. Aaron Ingram from P2. He's run ever so slightly wide on the exit of turn 1 as Naylor comes out to the pits after making his mandatory pit stop, I think. Or has he made another pit stop? I think this is his second stop, potentially. I'm not quite sure, though. Oh, no. Immediately, Naylor has gone off through literally 2 corners after exiting the pits. And he's gone off. And, well, I mean, he's rejoined the track in an extremely interesting fashion. He's actually managed to hit the wall on the other side of the track, which is quite an achievement. And, well, I mean, you would have thought he would have just... I don't know what has happened there to Robert Fleming. He seems to have decided that he's just not going to complete the rest of the lap and he's going to rejoin the track at the Cascades, which is quite remarkable, it has to be said. I mean, it's certainly one way of letting lap cars past you, to just drive and, you know, cut out half of the circuit, which is, well, I mean, it seems like a bit of a Mahavir Raghunathan strategy, but I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat, as we now have Ronan Doherty lapping Damien McMullen, that is, in the number 99 BMW car. And you can see, oh my goodness me, you can see a hideous livery is what you can see. The eyes of death. It's like the eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings just staring at you. It really is the stuff of nightmares there from Adam Ingram. I'm gonna have to lodge a complaint with the admins of RTA, which is Rob, incidentally, that livery be removed for the next race, because it is just absolutely abhorrent. I fear that YouTube might put some restrictions on this video, purely as a result of that livery, for not being suitable for children under the age of 12. As I am seriously going through my water bottle now. We have 10 minutes, well, 13 minutes left in this race. And, well, I mean, I'm going through the water at a rate that the BMWs are going through fuel, it would seem. As Aaron even, apologies, I'm thinking of the BTCC driver, Adam Ingram, has lapped TJ Baker once again. Well, I mean, he didn't lap him before, but TJ Baker has been lapped before by Doherty. As now we have Naylor, who is also a lap down. I'm pretty sure everyone except the podium runners is a lap down, and that is truly remarkable stuff there, as Naylor is being hunted down by Simon Wall, who has had his fair share of incidents at the start of this race, being tagged round twice and then sending it into the barriers on his own. So you have to say it isn't particularly conducive to the Mercedes Formula 1 livery there, mind you. It is just a livery at the end of the day. Endurance commentary is something that I'm new to, folks, and I have to tell you the absolute truth. Having commentated generally at most 15-minute races at a time in the past, my vocal cords after half an hour of commentating are getting a little bit sore. So, I mean, the water is being necked at an astonishing rate. You might be wondering why I'm telling you about that. It's because there's very little happening on the track for me to talk about. We've got Naylor and Wall who are chasing each other down, but I mean, that's not really, doesn't seem to be a battle that's bearing any fruit, as we have someone exiting the pits. I think that might be Aaron Ingram in front. It is, as I'm not sure what's happened to him, but well, I mean, I can't even imagine what's happened to him. Maybe he hasn't made a pit stop yet. Maybe he had damage. Maybe he had a drive-through penalty. Who knows? As he exits the pits in front of Naylor. And Evan seemed to be getting a little bit out of shape there on the exit of Shell Oil's corner. The rear end seemed to be stepping out on him just a little bit. Now that Lamborghini does have traction control as a standard, so I'm not sure, is he running without it or is he running with it on a very low setting? But it seemed to be a little bit happy at the rear, as Simon Wall looking for a move up the inside of Naylor coming through turn 10 there, but he hasn't managed to get that one done, and the Hislop chicane is going to be causing him some level of anxiety after the first 2 laps of this race, with people going up his inside, namely, who was it? It was Healy going up his inside twice, tagging him twice and sending him around twice. all in 2 laps. So Simon Wall is going to be seriously looking out for that, as Naylor has gone extremely wide at turn 16, and this could leave Wall with an opportunity to go up the inside at some point, but he seems to have backed off very early indeed as they come through turn 1 and down through Denton's and into the Cascades. It is a fantastic piece of track, very difficult to pass, however, and Simon Wall just looks to be holding station for now. But does he have a run on Evan as they come down into Island Bend? I don't think he does, and it's probably going to be turn 10 before he gets an overtake done. And you have to say, Evan Naylor with a fantastically liveried Huracan there, the number 76 Logitech car. And, oh my goodness, I was going to say something else there, but Naylor has made an absolute dog's dinner of the Britain's chicane, and that has allowed Simon Wall to come flying down the inside into turn 10. Don't back out, Simon, for goodness sake, this is your only opportunity, and he doesn't, and he is through into position 8, overtaking the Lamborghini, who made, well, a fatal error through turn 7, and that has just cost him a potentially significant position. And well, I'm not sure what point system we're running, but in Formula 1, the difference between P8 and P9 is double points. So, I mean, I'm sure Simon Wall will be aware of that. Running with the Mercedes livery. Seriously starting to get low on water, but we only have 8 minutes remaining. And as we come up to turn 1 now, is Naylor going to go for a move up the inside of Simon Wall? No, he isn't. Simon Wall just maintaining his cool, and Naylor having to hold station and live to fight another day as we ride on board with Wall, who is certain to be feeling the pressure from Naylor behind. And as we look back, we can see the aggressive looking green Lamborghini as he absolutely mullers the apex of Island Bend, and he's looks to be seriously gaining into the braking zone of Shell Oil's corner. And as they come up to the chicane now, where Naylor made that mistake on the last lap, is there going to be any such antics this lap? No, there isn't. And Naylor is just going to be looking for an opportunity to pass Simon Wall. Simon Wall seems to be quite a careful driver when it comes to making aggressive overtakes. He doesn't like to put anything at risk, it would seem. As we switch there to Evan for a fraction of a second before immediately going back to Simon Wall there. Very little happening in this race so far. Well, I mean, there's been plenty happening in previous moments, but nothing happening just at the minute, so I might take a moment to drink a bit more water. Fantastic stuff. Now, as we breach the 34 out of 40 minute mark, with Simon Wall occupying P7. I'm not sure what's happened there. TJ Baker, what has happened to him? TJ Baker is now down in P8, so something's happened to him there. I'm sure he must have had to come into the pits for something or other. I'm not sure. I don't think we have replays, so we won't be able to tell. But TJ Baker in the wars for some reason. I'm not sure, did he have an incident with Parks or what happened there? Whether he just spun it on the exit of 12 or the exit of 16, like we've seen many people do so far this race. As Simon Wall navigates the Britain chicane of turns 7, 8 and 9, and Ronan Doherty navigates the turn 13 uphill left hand of City Hall. And now Aaron Ingram, in the most cursed livery ever to grace a racetrack, is following 12 seconds behind him. So you have to say, Ronan, with 5 minutes left in this race, plus 1 lap, he really does have an easy road ahead of him. With now Nathan Healy, who has had his fair share of incidents. Oh, never mind, we're looking straight back at Ronan again. And I'm sure in just a second we'll look back at Nathan. Yeah, there he is, he's navigating the chicane. Oh, and now we're back to Doherty, So, I mean, you love to see it. Oh, and there's Healy, and now Doherty again. So, I mean, the whoever's operating the cameras probably is having some kind of a seizure, so we need to send someone to check on him. And Healy again. So in a second, oh, there we go now. There's Doherty. Oh, and now Healy. So we're going to cut it back to Doherty in just a second, just to really mess with pretty much everyone. There's nothing happening in this race apart from someone spazzing around with the cameras, which you absolutely love to see. We're actually getting a good view of Nathan Healy in that rather uniquely liveried black, purple, red and turquoisey Huracan, which is certainly a very interesting livery. I think it works quite well, but I mean, you can form your own opinions on that. I think this will be a good time to tell you that if you are enjoying the race so far, please do leave a like, and feel free to subscribe to the RTA Virtual Motorsport channel if you would like to see more of these videos. The next round is Laguna Seca, and that video will be coming very shortly. After that, the last 3 rounds, I want to say, will be live streamed on the, I think it's the RTA channel. And Ronan Doherty there, we're getting a brief look at him before cutting back to Healy and then immediately back to Doherty, which is absolutely fantastic. The cameraman carrying on his tradition of cutting between 2 cars for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So yes, I think the last 2 or 3... Oh, goodness me, Rob Parks is off and hard into the barrier for the Lamborghini 111 car of Rob Parks with 3 minutes left to go. He has crashed out of P6 and he's... Oh my goodness me, there's been some extraterrestrial intervention there for Rob Parks, who has... Well, I don't think he's lost an awful lot of time, because he seemed to have a decent gap to Simon Wall behind him, 20 seconds odd. So he might be able to nurse that car around to the finish, although it was a hard hit on the right-hand side of that Lamborghini for Parks. And that's going to be a very unfortunate finish to his race, having performed 37 minutes of the 40 almost perfectly, having fended off TJ Baker, who had his own miseries a little while earlier. And, well, I mean, it just goes to show that no matter how good you are, there's always some element of chance that you can just momentarily lose your concentration and then just send it off into the barriers like Rob did just there. So anyways, as I was saying, I think the last 2 or 3 races of this championship will be live streamed on the RTA channel. I think it's the RTA channel, but I could be wrong. And I will be commentating along with another commentator. I think his name is Andrew, but I'm not sure. So I do hope you will all tune in for that. You can subscribe and turn on post notifications to get notified of when that stream goes live. So, oh goodness me, look at this. We've got Ronan Doherty, who looks to be trying to lap once again. He's flashing the lights at Robert Fleming there. And Fleming moves to the inside. It's an interesting lapping manoeuvre. I wouldn't say it's the best I've ever seen, but I mean, he is about 4 laps down, so they've seen plenty of each other, Doherty and Fleming. And now, as we are into the final minute of the race, and the final 45 seconds as we look at Ender Farrell, who we haven't seen much of this race, but he has occupied P3 from, well, start to finish almost in his number 7 yellow and black liveried, what is that? Is that a BMW? I think it's a BMW. Let's see to the front of it. Yes, it is a BMW. So the podium will be occupied by 2 BMWs and a Ferrari, which you'll love to see. So as he laps Simon Wall there, on coming up to the outside of turn 10. I don't think turn 10 actually has a name. Turn 11 there is Hislops, and then we have turn 12, which Ender is going through, which is Knickerbock, but the right-hander of turn 10 doesn't appear to have a name, which is quite interesting, given that circuits, especially in the UK, tend to name almost every corner. Mind you, turn 14, which is there, doesn't seem to have a name either based on the track map that I'm looking at, as we have reached the final minute. Well, we're past the final minute. We are over 40 minutes into this race, and I believe that this is the penultimate lap. I think Ronan had already crossed the finish line before the clock had struck 40 minutes. So we are going to be going for one more lap after Doherty crosses the finish line, and after that the race will conclude, and it is looking almost certainly like Doherty will take the checkered flag from Ingram and Farrell. Nathan Healy, after his incidents earlier on in the race, you have to say it's a fantastic job by him to recover all the way up to P4. And Andrew Murphy, within 2 laps of the end, he has stacked it into the barrier on the inside of Knickerbrook, sorry, I've been pronouncing that wrong the entire race and I've only just realised. Goodness me, I'm not sure how he's managed to do that, whether he's just got on the grass on the outside of turn 11 and it's just sent him off into the barriers. But Ronan Doherty, never mind. Oh yeah, we're back to Ronan Doherty now. Oh, now we're back to Healy. I don't know what it is that the cameraman wants to show us between Healy and Doherty, but I mean, if anyone can crack that code, then please get in touch in the comments below. As Nathan Healy and now TJ Baker, who is just in front of... No, he's not. Is he? Yes, he is. He's the car in front of Healy on track, but he is not the car in front of Healy position-wise, as Ender Farrell comes round the second to last corner to... I don't think the race is finished just yet. And I think this is the final lap, however. And Ronan Doherty will be crossing the line any second now. I'm absolutely sure of it. As we now look at Keith McLaughlin, and now back to Nathan Healy. I'm really not sure what's going on, if Doherty has already crossed the line or not. If he has, then it's going to be an extremely anticlimactic finish, which I can only apologise about. But Aaron Ingram is almost certainly going to take second. I'm pretty sure Doherty's crossed the line at this stage. Well, I mean, he must have done, because we are on the final lap of the race. And... oh, goodness me, look at this. Keith McLaughlin spinning out on his final lap. And, well, oh, goodness me, look at that. Andrew Murphy, 5 laps down in a 40-minute race. You have to ask the question, what has gone wrong? As Nathan Healy, the star of the show as far as the cameraman is concerned, has crossed the line to take home P4, behind Ender Farrell, Aaron Ingram and Ronan Doherty, who, in a commanding performance, wins the first race of the championship here at Alton Park. We will be back next time in Laguna Seca, and we will see if Ronan can maintain that championship lead that he has established here today. As we look at Ender Farrell, who I'm not sure why they're still going round. I'm almost certain that the race is finished, so I mean, no one can really. Well, I mean, certainly I can't understand that, mind you. I'm not the most clued-in commentator, that's the joy of it. As Ender crosses the line, surely this is going to be the checkered flag. And let's see if he lifts. He has lifted, and I think it is the checkered flag. It is the checkered flag, hallelujah, the race has ended. As Keith McLaughlin goes off the track in front. And yes, well that is the end of the race, folks. A rather anticlimactic finish due to my drastic inability to commentate properly. As Andrew is now 6 laps down, which is... Oh no, he is still 5 laps down. That's... Well, I mean, that's... I was going to say it's better. It's not much better, but it is better. So, Ronan Doherty wins the first round here in... not Donington, Alton Park. I don't know where I am. In front of Aaron Ingram, Ender Farrell as he ploughs through the cones. You love to see it. Ender Farrell, Nathan Healy, and then I'm not sure who else because it isn't showing on the timing screens. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like and feel free to subscribe to the RTA Virtual Motorsport channel for even more videos like this in the future. Apart from that, my name's been Simon SNB. It has been my absolute pleasure to commentate for you today, and we'll see you all in Laguna Seca.